Hello, I'm Timothy Perfett from Two Canoe Software, and I want to talk about using an RFID card to be able to log into your Mac at the login window with XCreds. So an RFID card is a wireless card that you can tap onto a reader that will communicate a unique identifier that's on this card that will allow you to log in. That unique identifier is associated with a username and a password that's used to unlock the keychain. So since macOS is based on using a username and password to log in, we have to translate that unique identifier to a username and password. So it's a great, convenient way for younger students, students with disabilities, or anyone who just wants to go up and be able to log in very quickly. I'll talk about security a little bit later in the video and how we secure that unencrypted password in a way that makes sense. But for the meantime, let me just show you a demo. The RFID cards do come in different form factors. I have a tag, an RFID tag, and there's stickers, lots of different formats to be able to, lots of different choices for your formats for logging in. So let me switch over to the demo. And you can see that I'm at the XCreds login window and it says tap card to log in. So I'm going to take this card and I'm going to tap on the reader. And you can see instead of logging in, it says set up login card. And this card has not been used before, so it's not associated with any user. So I'm going to take this off and that checkbox is going to go away. And I'll just log in with username and password for this user. I don't have to do this, but I'm just showing you that there's no sleight of hand going on here. This user account is created. It's just a normal admin user. It doesn't have to be an admin user, but that's normally where a machine's provisioned. And I'll log out, and then I'll go ahead and tap this card again onto the reader. You can see that checkbox appears. So I'll put in tcadmin and Two Canoes as the password. So then I get prompted for the PIN. I can set a PIN that's used to encrypt this password, amongst some other things I'll talk about later. But you don't have to use that. So for this demo, I'll say don't use PIN. So now I've provisioned this card so that in future logins, I can just tap it and I'll be able to log in. And it's very quick. So because it's a pre-existing account, within 5 seconds, it's logged in. So I'll log out. And now watch how fast login is with the card. So I'll go ahead and tap the card. And it logs in within 5 seconds. So I'm at the desktop and I'm ready to go. So that's very easy to provision. You can see it didn't create a new user. It just used an existing user. And so I'm done. But what happens if we want to be able to create users on the fly? We want to provision them. Well, XCreds has a full suite of commands in the command line utility to import users, delete a single user, all the different options, and specify the user account information that's used to provision the account on first tap when it recognizes this UID of this tag. So if you want to create this file, you would just create basically a spreadsheet with all the RFID UIDs, their PINs, their username, and their password, so that when the student walks up, watch what happens. I go ahead and I tap this tag. You can see it started to log in. It didn't request it. This is not the tcadmin user. This is a tperfect is my user account. And you can see it takes a little bit longer because just like on any Mac, it has to provision the user account and create the home directory. And it would ask you for the setup assistant would come up if you had that configured. I had it skip that because I didn't want to show it for this video. But now if we open up users and groups, you can see that I now have a Timothy Perfett user account. Still has a password associated with it that's been set, so I can use that if I want to. But if I don't, I can just go walk up to the machine, tap this on it, and you can see that it logs in really quickly and is able to log into the account without having to do any user intervention, except for tapping. So let me talk a little bit about security. So we do need to have access to the unencrypted password because we have to unlock the keychain. We also need to have access to the username because we need to know what account to log in and provision if needed. So what we do is we associate the UID here to a user and password in an encrypted file on the disk. And what we use to encrypt it, we use the UID or the unique identifier of the card itself. We use the serial number of the Mac, so we kind of bind it to that Mac. And we also use the PIN. So if the user puts a PIN in, we use that to encrypt it. All the user's information and passwords are also encrypted with a key in the system keychain, which only the administrator and the system and XCreds have access to. And then finally, that file is located in a location that only is readable by the system and by admin. So in order to get the passwords backed out, it's relatively easy for XCreds to have access to those raw passwords or those unencrypted passwords. But we did encryption with multiple layers so that you can know that there's a good balance between ease of use and the security of that unencrypted password. So you'll have to assess that for yourself. If the convenience is worth it, but we feel like we have a really solid system to be able to do very quick and convenient logins. So thanks very much for watching, and happy tapping.